Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, where I share gripping real-life stories of betrayal, resilience, and sweet revenge that will keep you on the edge of your seat. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale like this one. Today I'm diving into a heart-wrenching saga that's straight out of a thriller movie, but it's all too real. It's about a loving grandmother, a devoted son, and a web of deceit spun by the person they trusted most. Before we get started, drop a comment below. Where are you tuning in from? Is it the bustling streets of New York? The sunny beaches of California? Or maybe the heartland of Texas? I love hearing from you all. It makes these stories feel like a global conversation. And if this tale moves you, consider hitting that super thanks button to support more content like this. Alright, let's jump in. My name is Evelyn Harper, and I'm a 68-year-old retired school teacher from the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. For most of my life, I've believed in the power of family, hard work, and trust. My husband, Robert, passed away from a sudden heart attack 8 years ago, leaving me to navigate the world with our only son, Marcus, and his young family. Marcus is my pride and joy, a hard-working engineer who always put others first. When he got an opportunity to work on a major infrastructure project in Dubai for a year, it was bittersweet. We said our goodbyes at O'Hare International Airport, tears streaming down my face as he promised to return with stories of the desert and enough savings to buy a dream home for his wife Lila and their 5-year-old daughter Mia. Lila Rivera Harper had been part of our family for 7 years. She was vibrant, ambitious, and seemed like the perfect match for Marcus. With her background in marketing, she ran a small online boutique selling handmade jewelry and accessories. During Marcus's absence, Lila and I grew closer. She moved in with me to save on rent, and we became like mother and daughter. I'd help with Mia's bedtime stories, and Lila would cook her famous enchiladas on weekends. She was attentive, always checking in on me, and her business seemed to thrive. New packages arrived daily, beads from India, silver from Mexico, and she'd show off her latest designs with a sparkle in her eye. "Evelyn, this is going to be big," she'd say. "Marcus will be so proud when he sees how far I've come." But looking back, there were signs. Tiny cracks in the facade that I ignored because I wanted to believe in our happy little unit. Late-night phone calls where Lila would whisper urgently, stepping out onto the back porch. She'd return with a forced smile, blaming it on supplier issues. Then there were the luxury items. A designer watch that cost more than my monthly pension. A new SUV she claimed was a business investment. When I asked how she afforded it, she'd laugh it off. "Bonuses from big orders, Mom. Don't worry, it's all legit." I nodded, not wanting to pry and risk upsetting the harmony. After all, Marcus trusted her implicitly, and so did I. The day Marcus was due back was electric with anticipation. It was a crisp autumn morning in October 2024, and O'Hare was buzzing with travelers. Mia clutched a handmade sign that read, "Welcome home, Daddy," in glittery letters, her little face beaming. Lila seemed a bit off, fidgety, checking her phone every few minutes, but I chalked it up to excitement. We positioned ourselves near the international arrivals gate, watching the flight board flip to landed. My heart soared. After a year of video calls and care packages, my boy was home. "Mom, I need to run to the restroom real quick," Lila said suddenly. Her voice strained. "My stomach's acting up, must be the coffee." She handed me her purse without a second thought and hurried off. I didn't think much of it. Mia and I were too focused on spotting Marcus in the crowd. 5 minutes passed, then 10. A security officer approached, a tall man in a crisp uniform, his badge gleaming under the fluorescent lights. He scanned the area before locking eyes on me. "Ma'am, the woman who was with you, where did she go?" His tone was urgent, almost accusatory. I blinked, confused. "You mean Lila, my daughter-in-law? She just stepped into the ladies' room. Why, is everything okay?" Before he could respond, his radio crackled to life. A stern voice cut through, "Suspect spotted fleeing toward exit B. All units, converge and secure the perimeter." The officer's face hardened. He muttered something into his radio and turned back to me, his eyes narrowing. "Stay here, ma'am. This is a security matter." My stomach dropped. What on earth was happening? I fumbled for my phone and dialed Lila's number. It rang once, then went straight to voicemail. Off. Completely off. Panic set in as airport security swarmed the area. men in tactical gear, K9 units barking, passengers whispering and pulling out their cameras. Mia clung to my leg, her eyes wide with fear. "Grandma, what's wrong? Where's Mommy?" I hugged her tight, my mind racing. And then, amidst the chaos, Marcus emerged from the gate. He looked exhausted but joyful, wheeling his suitcase with a gift bag swinging from his hand, probably souvenirs for Mia. His eyes lit up when he saw us. "Mom, Mia!" He waved, quickening his pace. But before he could reach us, 2 agents flanked him. "Marcus Harper?" One barked, flashing a badge. "Yes, that's me." "What's going on?" Marcus's smile faded as they grabbed his arms. "You're under arrest for suspicion of involvement in an international wire fraud scheme. Hands behind your back." The handcuffs clicked shut. The gift bag tumbled to the floor, spilling chocolates and a stuffed camel. I screamed, rushing forward with Mia in tow. "No, that's my son. You've got the wrong person." An officer blocked my path. "Ma'am, step back. He's being detained for questioning. You'll need to come with us." The airport spun around me. Murmurs turned to gasps as phones captured the scene. Marcus looked bewildered, his voice cracking. "Mom, I don't understand." "Fraud? I haven't done anything." They led him away through a side door, leaving me paralyzed. Security escorted Mia and me to a holding area, a stark room with plastic chairs and a one-way mirror. Mia sobbed into my lap while I tried to process it all. How could this be? Marcus was honest to a fault. He'd never even jaywalked. I called my sister, Clara, who lived nearby in Evanston. "Clara, please come get Mia. Something terrible's happened. Marcus has been arrested." "I need to stay and sort this out." My voice broke. But I forced strength for Mia's sake. Clara arrived within the hour, her face pale. She scooped up Mia, who clung to me desperately. "Grandma, don't leave me." It tore me apart to pry her little fingers away, but I had to focus on Marcus. The ride to the Chicago PD station was silent, the city lights blurring through my tears. They took me to an interrogation room, cold, with a metal table and buzzing fluorescents. A detective entered, mid-40s, suit rumpled, coffee in hand. "Mrs. Harper, I'm Detective Ryan Caldwell. Your son is in custody on serious charges. We need your statement." "Charges? What charges?" I demanded, my voice shaking. He slid a folder across the table. "Over the past year, accounts in Marcus Harper's name have funneled over $1.5 million in fraudulent transfers. Victims across the U.S. and Europe, mostly seniors, scammed out of their life savings. The money was routed through his accounts, then offshore." I stared at the papers, bank statements, wire transfers, all bearing Marcus's signature. This can't be right. Marcus was in Dubai the whole time. He doesn't handle finances like that. Lila does the books for their household. Caldwell leaned in. "Exactly. We believe your daughter-in-law, Lila Rivera Harper, is the ringleader. She fled the airport when she spotted our surveillance. We're hunting her now." The room tilted. "Lila? The woman who'd braided Mia's hair and baked apple pies with me." It didn't compute. But as Caldwell detailed the scheme, phishing emails, fake investment pitches, identity theft, memories flooded back. Lila's late nights, working on the boutique, the sudden wealth. A conversation I'd overheard months ago. Lila on the phone, whispering, "Use his credentials, it's cleaner that way. He's overseas. He won't notice." I dismissed it as business talk. Now it screamed guilt. "Oh God," I whispered. "She used him. She used my son as a shield." Caldwell nodded sympathetically. "We need your help to build the case." "Tell us everything about Lila." I spilled it all, the suspicious calls, the luxury buys, her business growth. Hours passed. By the time they let me see Marcus through a glass partition, he looked shattered. "Mom, I signed some papers for her before I left. She said it was for the boutique, expanding inventory. I trusted her. I love her." Tears streamed down my face. "We'll fix this, son. I promise." But as I left the station, doubt crept in. Lila was gone, the evidence stacked against Marcus. How could we prove his innocence? That night back home, the house felt haunted. Mia was with Clara, but her toys scattered the floor like ghosts. I couldn't sleep, replaying every moment. The next day, I hired a lawyer. Mr. Ellis Grant, a sharp-minded attorney from downtown Chicago. He reviewed the files and shook his head. "It's bad, Mrs. Harper. His signatures are everywhere. Juries don't buy blind trust easily. We need concrete proof Lila orchestrated it." Despair set in. Lawyers turned me down left and right, citing the overwhelming evidence. "Your son's the fall guy," one said bluntly. It's a losing battle. Then a knock at the door changed everything. A woman in her late 30s stood there, badge in hand. Mrs. Harper? I'm Detective Sofia Ramirez from the FBI's Cyber Crimes Division. I've been tracking Lila Rivera for months. She's not who you think she is. Sofia explained Lila's real name was Elena Vasquez, a con artist with ties to a cartel-backed fraud ring. She marries trusting men, uses their identities for scams, then vanishes. Marcus is her latest victim. Hope flickered. Can you help free him? Not without evidence. But with your permission, we can search the house, off the books for now. We started in Lila's home office, a locked room I'd rarely entered. Sofia picked the lock with ease. Inside, it was pristine, too pristine. We rifled through drawers, finding burner phones, fake IDs, and a hidden safe. Cracking it revealed ledgers of victims, names. Ages, mostly over 70, stolen amounts. This is gold, Sofia whispered. But as we dug deeper, a photo slipped out. Lila with a scarred man in a suit, toasting in a luxury hotel. That's Victor the Blade Moreno, Sofia said. Wanted for racketeering. This ties her to the big leagues. We bagged the evidence. Sofia rushed it to her team. Stay low, Mrs. Harper. These people play dirty. Days later, tragedy struck. My neighbor, Mrs. Gladys Thompson, a sweet widow who'd seen Lila arguing with a scarred man late one night, agreed to testify. As we drove to the station, a black SUV rammed us. I woke in the hospital, bruised but alive. Gladys didn't make it. Sofia visited grim. They silenced her, but were closing in. The investigation intensified. They traced the SUV to Moreno. A raid on his hideout yielded more. Recordings of Lila planning scams, using Marcus's name. He's the perfect patsy, her voice sneered. With this, Marcus was released on bail. But Lila was still at large. We moved to a safe house, Mia terrified, Marcus broken. How could I not see it? He lamented. Then a tip. Lila spotted in Miami. The FBI swooped in. I watched the arrest footage. Lila cuffed, defiant. In court, she confessed, blaming debt and greed. Sentenced to 20 years. We rebuilt in a quiet Illinois town. Marcus started a consulting firm. I opened a bookstore. Mia thrived. Justice prevailed, but the scars remained. Trust, I learned, must be earned, not blind. Thanks for listening. Comment your thoughts. Marcus was home, but the nightmare was far from over. Lila's betrayal ran deeper than we imagined, and the ring she was part of had tentacles everywhere, from Chicago to international waters. After Marcus's release on bail, we couldn't stay in our old home. The FBI arranged a safe house in a nondescript suburb. Mia asked endless questions about Mommy, and Marcus struggled to explain without shattering her world. Mommy's on a long trip, sweetie, he'd say, his voice cracking. Sofia Ramirez became our lifeline. She revealed more. Lila's ring targeted veterans and widows, using VA benefit scams and fake charity drives. She's responsible for over 50 victims in the Midwest alone, Sofia said. We have her confession recordings, but the bosses are still out there. One night, a package arrived at the safe house, anonymous. Inside, a USB drive with files showing Lila's communications with Moreno. This is her insurance policy, Sofia explained. She must have mailed it before fleeing in case she got caught. The files were damning. Emails detailing how Lila forged Marcus's signatures using digital tools, videos of her laughing with accomplices. Marcus is clueless. He thinks it's all for the business, she typed. We used it in court. The trial was a media circus, CNN, Fox, all covering the scammer wife. Lila took the stand, tearful. I was coerced, she claimed. But the evidence crushed her. Sentenced, she glared at us. You think this is over? The ring remembers. Post-trial, threats came. Anonymous calls, slashed tires. Sofia traced them to a remnant cell in New York. A sting operation nabbed them. We moved to the Carolinas, starting fresh. Marcus remarried years later. I found peace in community work. Revenge? It's in living well. The trial was over. The sentence handed down. And Lila, or Elena, as the FBI called her, was locked away for the next 20 years in a federal prison upstate. The headlines faded, the news vans left our street, and the world moved on. But for us, the damage lingered like smoke after a fire. Marcus barely slept. He'd wake up in the middle of the night staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment he'd missed, every red flag he'd ignored. Mia, only 5, started having nightmares, calling out for a mommy who wasn't coming back. And me? I carried guilt heavier than anything I'd ever known. I'd lived in the same house as that woman. I'd let her tuck my granddaughter into bed. I'd called her daughter. We sold the house in Chicago within weeks. Too many ghosts. Marcus took the proceeds, added what was left of his Dubai savings, and we moved south, far south, to a quiet town called Beaufort, North Carolina. Small streets, live oaks dripping with Spanish moss. The constant hush of the Atlantic just a few blocks away. We bought a weathered 2-story cottage with wraparound porches and a yard big enough for Mia to run wild. Marcus said he needed the ocean to wash some of the bitterness away. I just needed distance. For the first few months, we lived like hermits. Marcus found work restoring old boats at a local marina. Honest. Physical labor that left him too tired to think at night. I turned the downstairs sunroom into a little coffee and book nook called Harper's Haven. Nothing fancy, just fresh muffins every morning. Strong coffee and shelves of used books people donated. The locals trickled in, curious about the new folks in town. And slowly, very slowly, we started breathing again. Mia adjusted faster than any of us. She made friends at the elementary school, learned to crab off the dock, and collected shark teeth on the beach like they were treasure. But every now and then she'd ask, "When is Mommy coming to visit?" Marcus never lied. He'd kneel down, look her in the eyes and say, "Mommy made some very bad choices, sweetheart. She's in a place where she has to stay for a long time to think about what she did. But she loves you, and nothing will ever change." Then he'd distract her with ice cream or a bike ride, and the moment would pass. But I saw how it carved another notch into his heart each time. Detective Sofia Ramirez now. Special Agent Ramirez, after the promotion she earned cracking the ring, kept in touch. She'd call every few months with updates. Most of the lower-level scammers had taken plea deals. Victor the Blade Moreno, the scarred man in the photos, was still on the run, rumored to be in Mexico or Colombia. The money? Most of it was gone, laundered through crypto, real estate in Panama, luxury cars that had already been flipped. The victims got pennies on the dollar from a restitution fund. It wasn't justice. It was paperwork. One spring afternoon in 2026, about 18 months after the move, I was closing up Harper's Haven when a familiar black SUV pulled up outside. Sophia stepped out, sunglasses on, hair pulled back, looking like she'd driven straight from D.C. She hugged me tight on the porch. "Got a minute, Evelyn?" We sat in the rocking chairs with sweet tea. Mia was at school, Marcus still at the marina. Sophia didn't waste time. We finally located Moreno, joint task force with the Mexican Federal Police. Raid went down last week in Puerto Vallarta. He's in custody talking. And guess whose name keeps coming up? I felt my stomach tighten. Lila's. Sophia nodded. "She wasn't just a soldier in the ring, Evelyn. Moreno says she was his recruiter on this side of the border. She found the marks, groomed them, set up the fake websites. She personally handled over 30 victims, mostly elderly widows and retired veterans. She'd pose as a financial advisor, a charity rep, even a grief counselor. One woman in Ohio lost her entire 401k, took her own life 6 months later. I closed my eyes. The weight of it hit fresh. "There's more," Sophia said quietly. "Moreno claims Lila kept a second insurance file. Not the USB we found, the real one. Encrypted drive with full victim lists, audio recordings of the higher-ups, bank routing numbers for accounts we never touched. He says she bragged about hiding it somewhere no one would ever look. A place only she and Marcus knew about. My blood ran cold. Their old safety deposit box? Already checked, empty. She cleared it before the airport." I stared out at the ocean in the distance. A place only she and Marcus knew about. There was one. Years ago, when they first got married, they'd buried a time capsule in the backyard of the Chicago house for Mia to open when she turned 18. Cheesy stuff, letters to their future. Selves, a flash drive of photos, Mia's newborn hospital bracelet. Marcus had laughed about it later. Said Lila insisted on doing it for the memories. We'd sold the house, but the backyard. I called Marcus. He met us at Harper's Haven 20 minutes later, face pale as I explained. We booked the next flight to Chicago. Chicago in early summer felt foreign now, too loud, too fast. The new owners of our old house were a young couple with toddlers. When I explained who we were and why we needed to dig under the old oak in the backyard, they stared like we were crazy. But Sophia flashed her badge, promised we'd repair any damage, and they reluctantly agreed. Marcus brought shovels from the garage he still had access to through an old neighbor. We dug in the exact spot he remembered, 6 feet north of the tree trunk, 3 feet deep. It took less than 15 minutes. The metal box was still there, rusted but intact. Inside, the sentimental stuff just as he'd described, and tucked beneath the folded letters, wrapped in plastic, a small black external hard drive. We didn't open it there. Sophia took custody, flew it straight to the FBI lab in Quantico. 2 days later, she called us to a secure conference room in the Chicago field office. The drive was a goldmine. Hundreds of audio files, Lila's voice, cold and businesslike, coaching scammers on scripts. Tell them their grandson is in jail in Mexico. They'll wire the money without thinking. Recordings of conference calls with Moreno and 2 other lieutenants, whose voices matched known cartel moneymen. Spreadsheets tracking every dollar, every victim. Photos of fake driver's licenses, forged checks. And most damning, video of Lila meeting Moreno in a Miami hotel suite, counting stacks of cash, laughing about the idiot husband who signs anything I put in front of him. Sophia looked across the table at Marcus. This closes the ring for good. Moreno's cooperating. Fully now, he knows this evidence puts him away for life otherwise. The other 2 bosses are already in custody in Colombia. Extradition papers are being fast-tracked. Selves, a flash drive of photos, Mia's newborn hospital bracelet. Marcus had laughed about it later. Said Lila insisted on doing it for the memories. We'd sold the house, but the backyard. I called Marcus. He met us at Harper's Haven 20 minutes later, face pale as I explained. We booked the next flight to Chicago. Chicago in early summer felt foreign now, too loud, too fast. The new owners of our old house were a young couple with toddlers. When I explained who we were and why we needed to dig under the old oak in the backyard, they stared like we were crazy. But Sophia flashed her badge, promised we'd repair any damage, and they reluctantly agreed. Marcus brought shovels from the garage he still had access to through an old neighbor. We dug in the exact spot he remembered, 6 feet north of the tree trunk, 3 feet deep. It took less than 15 minutes. The metal box was still there, rusted but intact. Inside, the sentimental stuff just as he'd described, and tucked beneath the folded letters, wrapped in plastic, a small black external hard drive. We didn't open it there. Sophia took custody, flew it straight to the FBI lab in Quantico. 2 days later, she called us to a secure conference room in the Chicago field office. The drive was a goldmine. Hundreds of audio files, Lila's voice, cold and businesslike, coaching scammers on scripts. Tell them their grandson is in jail in Mexico. They'll wire the money without thinking. Recordings of conference calls with Moreno and 2 other lieutenants, whose voices matched known cartel moneymen. Spreadsheets tracking every dollar, every victim. Photos of fake driver's licenses, forged checks. And most damning, video of Lila meeting Moreno in a Miami hotel suite, counting stacks of cash, laughing about the idiot husband who signs anything I put in front of him. Sophia looked across the table at Marcus. This closes the ring for good. Moreno's cooperating. Fully now, he knows this evidence puts him away for life otherwise. The other 2 bosses are already in custody in Colombia. Extradition papers are being fast-tracked. Marcus's voice was steady but hollow. And Lila? Her sentence gets reviewed. This proves she was a major player, not just a coerced wife. Prosecutors are pushing for an additional 10 to 15 years, consecutive. And forfeiture, she'll lose every asset tied to the scams. I asked the question that had haunted me. The victims, will they finally get something back? Sophia nodded. The unreleased accounts this identifies? Over 8 million still sitting offshore. Once we seize it, restitution priority goes to the families. It won't bring back the ones who didn't make it, but it's something. We flew home to Beaufort the next day. Marcus didn't say much on the flight. When we landed, he hugged Mia so tight she squealed. That night, after she was asleep, he sat on the porch with a beer and finally spoke. I keep thinking about that time capsule. She buried evidence right under our noses. Mom. While we were writing letters about hopes and dreams, she was hiding proof of nightmares. I put my hand on his. But we found it, together. And now it's over, for real this time. He looked out at the dark ocean. Is it ever really over? I didn't have an answer. A few months later, the news broke nationally. Midwest fraud ring. Dismantled. Mastermind's hidden drive. Leads to historic seizure. Our names were kept out of it. Thank God. Victim families started receiving checks. One widow from Indiana sent me a handwritten letter. Because of you and your son, I can keep my home. God bless you. Marcus framed it and hung it in his workshop. Life settled into a new rhythm. Harper's Haven grew busier. I added evening story hours for kids. Marcus started dating a local teacher, Sarah, someone kind and uncomplicated. Mia called her Miss Sarah and beamed whenever she came over. For the first time in years, I heard Marcus laugh, really laugh, while building sandcastles on the beach. One December evening in 2027, Sophia drove down for a weekend visit. We sat around the fire pit in the backyard, Mia asleep inside, marshmallows roasting. Sophia raised her glass. To second chances, Marcus clinked his bottle against hers, and to the people who fight for them. I looked up at the stars, bright and endless over the Carolina coast. The scars were still there. They always would be, but they didn't define us anymore. The storm had passed, and we had learned to dance in the rain that came after. Years rolled on like gentle waves in Beaufort. By the summer of 2029, Harper's Haven had become more than just a coffee shop. It was the heart of the town. Locals gathered there for book clubs, open mic nights, and Saturday morning story time for the kids. I'd expanded the back room into a small used bookstore section, and the smell of fresh-baked blueberry, muffins mixed with old paperbacks, became my therapy. At 72, I wasn't slowing down. If anything, the place kept me young. Marcus had found his footing too. He and Sarah got married in a quiet ceremony on the beach the year before. Mia as the flower girl, scattering seashells instead of petals. Sarah was everything Lila never was, steady, kind, no hidden edges. She taught 3rd grade at Mia's school, and the three of them fit together like pieces of a puzzle I didn't know was missing. Marcus's boat restoration business grew. He even hired 2 local guys to help. Money wasn't pouring in, but it was honest. And that mattered more than anything now. Mia was 9, all long legs and curiosity. She'd inherited her father's mechanical mind, always taking apart radios or building elaborate Lego contraptions. She still asked about her mom sometimes, but the questions came less often, and they were more practical than painful. Does she get to have books in there? She'd wonder. Marcus always answered truthfully, yes, baby. And she's safe and she's thinking about you every day. We thought the past was buried deep enough. Then, in August 2029, Sophia called out of the blue. She didn't waste words. Evelyn, I need you and Marcus in D.C. as soon as you can get here. It's about Lila. My heart stopped. What now? She's requesting early release. Good behavior, overcrowding, new federal guidelines. Her attorney filed a motion for compassionate release, claiming health issues. The hearing is in 3 weeks. Prosecutors want you both there to give victim impact statements. It could sway the judge. Marcus and I flew up the next weekend. Sophia met us at a nondescript federal building in downtown D.C. She looked older, streaks of gray at her temples, but her eyes were still sharp. Before you decide, she said, sliding a folder across the table, there's something you need to know. Lila's been writing letters, dozens of them, to Mia. Marcus went rigid. What? Prison mail is monitored. These never got sent, but the warden flagged them. She's been claiming she's found God, that she's a changed woman, that she deserves to be part of her daughter's life again. I opened the folder with shaking hands, page after page of neat handwriting. My dearest Mia, Mommy thinks about you every single day. I know I made mistakes, but I was sick, baby. I was lost. I'm better now. When I get out, we can start over. You, me, and Daddy just like before. Another one. I dream about braiding your hair again, teaching you how to make my special enchiladas. You'll see, Mija. I'm still your mommy. Marcus read one page and pushed the folder away like it burned him. She's not getting near Mia, ever. Sophia nodded. Then we make sure the judge hears that, loud and clear. The hearing was held in a cold courtroom that smelled of lemon polish and old wood. Lila was brought in wearing a gray prison jumpsuit, hair pulled back severely. She looked thinner, harder, but when her eyes landed on us, something flickered, defiance, maybe regret. Hard to tell. Her attorney went first. Tales of rehabilitation, Bible study, mentoring other inmates, a supposed liver condition from stress. Ms. Vasquez has served nearly 8 years. She poses no threat to society. Then it was our turn. Marcus spoke first. His voice didn't waver once. Your Honor, this woman didn't just steal money. She stole trust. She used my name, my identity, my love for her to destroy dozens of lives. She turned me into a suspected criminal in my own son's No, my daughter's eyes. And now she wants to come back into Mia's life? That little girl had nightmares. For years because her mother disappeared. The day her father came home from war zone work. Mia doesn't need a mother who sees her as a second chance at manipulation. She needs the peace we finally found. I beg you, do not let this woman anywhere near my child. I went next. My legs shook, but my voice came out stronger than I expected. I welcomed Elena Vasquez into my home as a daughter. I let her hold my granddaughter when she was hours old, and all that time she was planning to use my son as a shield while she preyed on vulnerable elderly people like me. One victim took her own life because of what this woman did. Another lost the home she'd lived in for 50 years. I live with that knowledge every day. Compassion? She showed none. Please, Your Honor, show justice instead. The judge listened without expression. After a long pause, she denied the motion. The severity of the crimes, the calculated nature of the deception, and the profound impact on the victims and their families outweigh any claims of rehabilitation at this time. Motion denied. Lila didn't react, just stared straight ahead as they let her out. We flew home lighter somehow, like another chain had snapped. Life settled again, deeper this time. By 2031, Mia was 11 and thriving, straight A's, soccer team captain, already talking about becoming an engineer like her dad. Sarah was pregnant with their first child together, a boy they planned to name Robert after my late husband. Harper's Haven had a fresh coat of paint and a new patio out back where we hosted live music on Fridays. Then out of nowhere, a letter arrived at the house. Handwritten envelope, postmarked from the prison, addressed to Mia Harper. Marcus opened it first, his legal right as custodian. Inside was a single page and a small drawing, a childlike sketch of a woman and a little girl holding hands on a beach. The letter read, Mia, I know your daddy won't let you read this, but I have to try. I'm getting out soon, one way or another. Time served, parole board, whatever it takes. I dream about seeing you every night. You're my daughter. Nothing can change that. When I'm free, I'll find you. We belong together. Love always, Mommy. Marcus's face went white. He called Sophia immediately. Turns out Lila had become eligible for mandatory parole review in 2032. Her behavior credits had stacked up. The board was leaning toward approval. Sophia flew down the next day. We can fight this. Victim statements carry weight at parole hearings, too. But there's something else. She laid photos on the kitchen table. Recent prison visitor logs. One name kept appearing, Carlos Vasquez. Lila's older brother, ex-con with ties to the same cartel remnants. She's not done, Sophia said quietly. Intel says the remaining money, about $3 million still hidden in crypto wallets, is tied to keys only she knows. Carlos is pressuring her to recover it once she's out. If she gets parole, she'll disappear south of the border with the cash. But not before trying to take Mia as leverage. To her, that girl is the ultimate insurance policy. Marcus looked ready to explode. Over my dead body. Sophia nodded. Then we make sure she never gets the chance. We prepared like never before. Marcus installed security cameras around the house. I took self-defense classes at the senior center and surprised myself by how much I enjoyed them. Sarah and Mia were moved temporarily to her parents' farm inland. Sophia coordinated with local police and the U.S. Marshals. The parole hearing came in spring 2032. We all flew up again. This time, Lila looked different, calmer, almost serene. Her attorney painted her as a model inmate, fully reformed. But when victims spoke, including a son of the woman who'd taken her own life after losing everything, the tide turned. Then Marcus stood. My daughter is 12 years old now. She's happy. She's safe. She has a stepmother who loves her, a baby brother on the way, and a father who will do anything to protect her. You lost the right to call yourself her mother the day you chose money over family. If you come near her, you'll have to go through me. Through law enforcement, through every person who knows what you did. Stay away. I added my piece. You don't get to rewrite the ending. Just because you're tired of the consequences. Parole denied. Another 5 years before next review. We thought that was the end. But in late 2033, word came Lila had been transferred to a lower security facility for good behavior. And 1 month later, during a medical transport to an outside hospital, the van was ambushed. 2 guards injured, Lila gone. She'd escaped. The hunt was on, and this time we knew she was coming for Mia. The escape hit the news like a bomb. Federal inmate involved in multi-million dollar fraud ring vanishes during Medical transfer, Lila's. Prison photo was everywhere. Cold eyes staring. Out from every screen. The U.S. Marshals put her on the most wanted list within hours. Sophia called us from her office in D.C., voice tight. She's smart. She planned this. The ambush was professional, masked men, precise timing, no fatalities. They wanted her alive and quiet. Carlos Vasquez organized it from the outside. We've got warrants out for him and 3 known associates. Marcus didn't sleep for days. He paced the porch at night, phone in hand, checking the security cameras every few minutes. Sarah stayed calm for Mia's sake, but I saw the fear in her eyes when she thought no one was looking. We pulled Mia from school temporarily and kept her close. The marshals assigned 2 deputies to watch the house around the clock. One in an unmarked car out front, another patrolling the beach side. Sophia flew down again, this time with a thick file. We think she's heading south. Mexico, then probably deeper into Central America. But here's the problem. She won't leave without trying for Mia first. In her mind, that girl is the only real family she has left. And leverage if things go wrong. We've intercepted messages between Carlos and a burner phone we believe is hers. She's asking about the package. That's Mia. Marcus slammed his fist on the table. She's not a package. She's my daughter. I know, Sophia said softly. That's why we're not waiting for her to make a move. We're going on offense. The plan was simple but terrifying. Use Mia as bait, but safely. The marshals set up a decoy. They leaked carefully crafted info through prison informants, Marcus supposedly taking Mia on a healing trip to a rented beach house in the Outer Banks. Isolated, easy access. In reality, we stayed locked down in Beaufort. Extra deputies in the house, windows reinforced, safe room ready. The fake beach house was wired top to bottom. Cameras, microphones, motion sensors. Undercover agents posed as neighbors. Sophia coordinated from a command van nearby. We waited. Days dragged into a week. Mia thought it was an extended vacation at home. She baked cookies with me, built forts with Marcus, video called her friends. But the tension was thick enough to choke on. Then one night the call came. Movement at the decoy house. Infrared picked up 3 figures approaching from the dunes. Black clothing, faces covered. One taller, slimmer, female silhouette. Sophia's voice over the secure line. It's her. Confirmed gate match from prison footage. Hold positions. We watched the live feed on a laptop in our living room, hearts pounding. The figures cut the power first. Professional. But backup generators kicked in silently. They breached the back door. Flashbangs went off. Shouts. Federal agents! Down on the ground! It was over in seconds. 2 men tackled immediately. The third, the woman, tried to run back toward the beach. She made it 20 yards before a marshal brought her down in the sand. Handcuffs on, mask pulled off. Lila. She fought like a cornered animal, screaming Mia's name into the night until they gagged her for transport. Carlos was picked up 2 days later in a raid on a motel in Charlotte. The third man flipped immediately, giving up the whole escape network. Lila was transferred to a Supermax facility. No more medical outs. No more low-security transfers. Solitary for the first year. Her remaining sentence stretched with new charges. Escape. Conspiracy. Attempted kidnapping. When Sophia called to confirm it was truly over, Marcus just sat on the porch steps and cried. Not from fear anymore, from relief. Mia never knew how close it had come. We told her Mommy had made another bad choice and was staying away for good now. She nodded, hugged her dad tight, and asked if we could get a dog. We did. A big, goofy golden retriever named Beacon. After the recapture, the house felt different. Lighter. The deputies left. The cameras came down. We went back to normal routines, school runs, boat work, muffin baking. But something had shifted permanently. We didn't take a single ordinary day for granted anymore. Marcus and Sarah welcomed baby Robert a few months later. Tiny, red-faced, perfect. Mia was obsessed. Big sister through and through. Reading him stories, singing off-key lullabies. Watching the 4 of them together on the porch at sunset healed pieces of me. I didn't know we're still broken. Sophia visited one last time, not on duty this time, just as a friend. We grilled shrimp on the beach, toes in the sand, Beacon chasing waves. I'm retiring next year, she told us over the fire. 25 years chasing ghosts. This case, it was the one that mattered most. Because of you 2, dozens of families got some justice. And Mia gets to grow up safe. Marcus raised his beer. To the people who don't let the bad guys win. We clinked bottles and plastic cups, the ocean roaring its approval. Years later, long after the news cycle had forgotten the name, Elena Vasquez, Harper's Haven still stood. I was older, moving slower, but the muffins were still warm every morning. Mia, now in high school, worked the counter on weekends, charming customers with her father's smile. Marcus's boat business had grown into a full restoration yard. Sarah taught at the same school Mia attended. Baby Robert was toddling everywhere, sticky fingers and endless questions. One quiet evening, Mia came home from school and found me in the garden pruning lavender. "Grandma," she said, sitting beside me, "I have to write an essay for English. About someone who inspires me." I smiled. "Who'd you pick?" "You." My heart skipped. She continued, "You never gave up. Not on Dad, not on me, not even when everything was falling apart. You fought for what was right, even when it was scary. That's what I want to be like." I pulled her into a hug, lavender scent all around us. "Sweet girl," I whispered, "you already are." And in that moment, under the Carolina sky, I knew the story had come full circle. The betrayal had tried to destroy us, but we chose something stronger. We chose family. We chose truth. We chose love. And in the end, love won.